April 29th, the European Court of Justice has ruled against Malta's Citizenship by Investment program. The next day, I start getting loads of phone calls from clients and prospects saying, right, I'm ready to go. And the same for the rest of my team. If the program has been found that it is beyond repair and it cannot come back and still continue in some different format, these are some alternatives. Hi, this is Jeremy from the Millionaire Migrant. So I'm the CEO of one of the world's best known citizenship by investment firms. We have processed in excess of 11,000 passports legally and using the government licenses that we have from 6 government jurisdictions. I have done passports for myself, for my family, for my friends as well. But essentially what happens is this is a lot of experience that we're channeling right now so that you can get up to date with all the news that's happening in the citizenship and residency by investment space. We are now a week or so after the news, the bombshell essentially dropped regarding what's happening in Malta, and still there is no clear path as to what's going to happen to the program. Everything is a little bit up in limbo. We have advised clients to be prepared to move forward because our experience has told us that there's a high chance that there will be some kind of grace period or a restructuring of the program from its existing format that is very light in terms of ties and links and residency requirements. That has always been the bane of the European Court of Justice, and the European Union is saying that there needs to be what is called 2 words, which we'll keep hearing in the future if you haven't already got a citizenship: genuine links. So what's happening is that anything that is within the EU or anything that allows access to the EU, they are essentially against this because they want to see that those people obtaining the nationality have what they call genuine links. So you will probably see in the coming years, for those of you who haven't applied, and I don't know why you haven't applied, but essentially you will start to see that there will be more residency requirements. So let's say it's some country that has European access, or the Caribbean, for example, or another country, or a golden visa, Portugal, Latvia, and so on, they will start to ask for increasing physical residency requirements. Now, not only is that cumbersome, physical residency requirements, but this also becomes a tax resident requirement as well. So if you look at it, some countries are quite attractive from a tax perspective. So for example, you can take care of the Italian or the Portuguese programs they have, which are lump sum or non-dom programs. That's not so bad. But if you're going to other countries, Spain also has a program, but if you look at other countries, the tax there is going to be pretty punchy, apart from obviously the inconvenience of having to be there. So until that comes in, these are some options for you if it looks like Malta is definitively closed. So firstly, you've got a program in Malta itself, which is not really talked about that much, but it's something that we have processed on a few occasions for our clients, more than a few, but it's not really got a lot of volume because it's just not advertised as much, or people aren't aware of it as much. But Malta has a MPRP program, which is a residency program. Through this, you invest in a property of a value of 375,000 euros, or you can pay a rent of 14,000 euros per year for 5 years. You have to do a government contribution of 30,000 euros if you do the property purchase option, 60,000 if you do the contribution, which is for if you do the rental option. On top of this, you've got admin fees, 50,000 euros, non-refundable, and then you also need to donate 2,000 euros to a non-government organization, an NGO. This will give you PR for life, for the entire family and for future generations. This is unique and very attractive to a lot of people. You probably aren't aware of this. Most people aren't. You can apply for citizenship if you live for more than 7 years and demonstrate strong ties to Malta. So there's also a citizenship path. However, it does require a physical stay. But the approval for this is at the discretion of the minister, and the citizenship possibility is not in the legislation. So I think that's one of the reasons why people keep going back to Portugal, which is one that I'll come to now. Portugal Golden Visa is probably the program that is going to benefit the most from the Malta instability. Whether Malta is not going to be the same in its current format, so whether it will change or whether it will shut down, I see and foresee a lot of demand going to Portugal, which is, by the way, already backed up with all the applications that has been coming in, not just from the Portugal Golden Visa, because people forget that it has other residency and immigration paths. You have the D2, you have the D7. You also got people who are moving there who also are applying for some kind of residency status because of, to name a few, you've got the NHR, which is the fiscal residence status. So just to summarize what Portugal is, there is a donation option. Nobody talks about it. I think there's hardly less than 5 people who've done it ever. So that's 250,000 euros is a non-refundable donation to a cultural, for example, a cultural project. Of course, you've got the fund where we did a video talking about the different funds. We shortlisted, I think, 6 or 7, talking about the funds that we feel are the ones that are the most credible. There are a lot of funds in Portugal. This is something that a lot of people are concerned about because they're meeting people who are coming on trade shows, road shows to their country, or they're seeing an advertisement about it and they're not sure about which of these funds to do. There is no shortage of funds, and people are worried that if that fund doesn't get the required capital, what's going to happen to their investments. So we kind of shortlisted it on those 6 that we think have what it takes in terms of reaching what they want to fill in terms of their capacity and be able to generate returns for their investors and also to be able to get their money back after their minimum holding period. For Portugal, the best thing about it, which you'll see compared to the next options we're going to go through, is that it's the only one that really gives a path to citizenship, but it's also the only one that, regardless of citizenship, requires very minimal residency requirements. It's got the easiest residency requirement, so it's 14 days every 2 years, which is great. It's a golfing holiday every couple of years in Portugal, fantastic. The A2 language minimum threshold for you to learn, and then it also needs to, the investment that you make has to be held for a minimum hold period of 5 years. Now, one thing you need to realize is that from the point that you submit your application and you start the whole process, regardless of any days, you can apply for your language test at the 5-year point. You don't need to wait until you've gone through all the different steps that are there. So not everything needs to be running at the same time. You can literally start before you even get to any of the renewal stages, as long as you do the minimum 5 years. Next, you've got Greece Golden Visa, which I think got a lot of the traffic from Portugal. When Portugal increased from the minimum threshold, which was at the time, I mean, it was at 500 for certain type of properties, but there was also a 350,000 renovation, a 280,000 renovation. And then what happened is that it went from 500, but then real estate was taken out. Their loss was Greece's gain. Greece suddenly got loads of applications. It was already getting a lot. Then it got a lot more. And what happened is that people liked the real estate component. People were more comfortable with this than a private fund that they're not really sure about in a not very liquid market, which is the Portuguese fund market. So they benefited a lot, and they also kept the threshold down at 250. Having said that, Portugal is still going great guns, and it is getting a lot of demand. Greece has 250,000, 400,000 and 800,000 euro options. There's certain criteria, but if you want to be able to have the freedom of investing in anything you want, you're at 800,000. But we have clients at all different brackets. You've got some people who say, look, I just want to put the minimum. And then you've got other people saying, no, I want to buy something that's really nice in Santorini, Thessaloniki. We've had what else? Mykonos, and then Corfu and other places too. With Greece, you get permanent residency from day one for 5 years, and it's renewable once you can demonstrate that you still own that property. The time citizenship is 7 years, and the citizenship requirement requires a 6-month stay in Greece, which, guess what, makes you a tax resident as well, which comes back to why Portugal is very attractive. The language test is B2, so it's different to Portugal. It's a bit tougher. When you hear the expression where people say everything looks Greek to me or sounds Greek to me, that will tell you just how easy the test will be. After that, you've got Latvia. Latvia is very popular because it's got the lowest threshold. It's literally 50,000 euros that you need to invest in a company. So that's the share capital that you need to demonstrate. So let's say it's 250,000. You just need to show that you did 50,000. You can also invest in real estate, 250,000 euros. One of the Gulf's largest real estate developers has launched a huge master project down there. So that is a place where you could see some good capital appreciation. We looked at the numbers, I think about a year ago at Latvia, but it wasn't anything too amazing at the time, but I think this project might change that. You can also do a bank deposit, 280,000 euros. We looked at some options where the bank deposit is quite high. Interestingly enough, 10% of the applicants who have been doing the Latvia program are actually American. So that's an interesting fact that I wasn't really aware of before. The residency is for 5 years. The card is issued for 1 year. It's renewable every year. So a little bit more paperwork there, unfortunately. But after 5 years, you can apply for PR. But you have to apply for that PR after having demonstrated that you have been living in the country for 4 out of those 5 years. That is a major downside if you put it on the shelf next to everything else. The language test is A2, and then after 10 years, you can apply for citizenship. But the citizenship requirement, guess what, also requires physical stay 6 months a year, makes you a tax resident, and you need to learn the Latvian language. You'll notice a common thread here where you need to learn the language of that country if you want to attain nationality, which explains why so many people over the years have been applying for UK and the UK residency programs before they started to close a lot of them all down. Reason being is that the latest statistics shows that about the UK net migration was 1 million people every year. That's net. So that's taking away the people leaving because of high taxes, safety, and the closure of the non-dom. Net 1 million people moving to UK. And now that whole situation has been unfortunately abused to a certain extent. And now the UK is really clamping down. But you can understand why, because everybody speaks English. So the path citizenship is a lot clearer. This is the last European option I'm going to talk about before I mention any other options, but this is the last European option, which is Hungary. So Hungary has its guest investor visa program. It's a 10-year residency permit, which can be renewed for another 10 years. You have to invest 250,000 euros into a property fund. They were going to talk about investing in actual physical real estate at 500,000 euros, but just before they launched it, they scrapped that. They want it to be in a property fund. It is an accredited government-backed property fund, so there is a lot more comfort there that you wouldn't get in a fund in Portugal. It does lead to Hungarian citizenship after proving again residence, which is 6 months every year. You need to do that for 8 years. Learning Hungarian, there's a cultural exam as well. It's not the most attractive. What is attractive is corporate tax at 9%. That's something that is much more attractive when you compare the corporate tax rate in the other countries that I just mentioned. Plus, Budapest, stunning city, fantastic city. I don't think it gets mentioned enough. Lastly, if none of those work for you, we do also have Turkey. We have a lot of clients that do Turkey. Very attractive. You can buy any real estate you want. So you have all the freedom that you don't have in a lot of the other countries, but it doesn't have EU/Schengen access. That might change. We notice a lot of changes in Turkey geopolitically. It does have a lot of advantages for those people who don't even want any Schengen or EU ties. So if you're one of those people, it is very attractive. You buy any property you want. I was there quite a lot in the last 12 months looking at properties. It's a very quiet market, so I'm not in a rush. I don't see a real urge to go and invest in Turkish property. Yields are kind of 6% on average. So again, opportunity cost there as well. But if you don't want to do that, the last options you have are the 5 Caribbean jurisdictions, which is, St. Kitts and Nevis, Commonwealth of Dominica, Antigua Barbuda, St. Lucia, and Grenada. Those are still getting a lot of traction right now. Obviously, some are faster than others, but those you either donate to the government or you invest in real estate or you do a government bond. The government bond one is St. Lucia, and I think clients like that one a lot because if you think about your ROI, it's probably the most secure way to get your money back if you didn't want to lose all the money in a donation. I talked about a lot of this in Forbes France publication a couple of weeks ago. So there's a link there if you want to have a look at it on our website, which is millionairemigrant.com. So go there if you would like to get more information about what we covered today, as well as other options. You can even click and get a call with one of our highly experienced consultants. We've been doing this for 15 years. So we have a lot of experience that you can tap into. Maybe you're about to press the trigger on some other program or you're not sure about Malta, you can contact us to get a second opinion if you would like. That's the video that I've covered for today. Let us know what you want us to cover in future topics, and if us and our team feel that we're qualified to cover this, we will do it in a future video. Thanks very much for watching. Please, please, please learn from Malta. Don't leave it to the last minute. Like all these clients of mine, these friends of mine as well, some of them, they're old clients for a very long time, start calling me and say, I'm ready to do Malta now. Why are you doing it now? Like, you knew already that there was a lot of pressure on Malta for this once Cyprus program closed down. So you knew that the clock was ticking. Please, it's better to be 1 year early rather than 1 day too late. Thanks very much. I'll see you on the other side.